Hello, and thank you for taking time to listen to me today as I talk about communication sport for my final research proposal. I do want to talk to you about several things today in regards to sports and communication. So, first thing I want to bring up to you is that have you ever wondered why slogans for sports teams have resonated in our minds over the years? That's a form of communication. They're coming up with these taglines to actually intrigue you or to arouse you into whatever the particular theme that they're discussing or talking about. When we think about like Nike, just do it, that is a tagline that has resonated with many of us for many years. A lot of times a tagline can even trigger a particular moment, a place or a time. Perhaps you're at a ball game with your friend or your significant other, or maybe it's the first ball game that you've taken your kids to see. Maybe you've taken them to a Yankees game or something like that. So a lot of times the taglines that we that are actually communicated to us resonate to us, and we may even resonate so much that becomes one of the teams that we root for when the sports are on. But I want to dig a little bit deeper into sports and communication, because from a theory base, it is possible to identify the 5 categories of communication genres: context, process, elements, and effects. Genres are common. Communication scholars have used different methods to investigate the subject matter, or for example, how humans learn, why they act the way that they do, social organizations, and how meaning is discovered. Researchers diving deeper into sports communication will expose to relatable concepts. So a lot of times they will use those particular concepts. The next part of that theory base we talk about is context, and this term describes the diverse ways of studying communication. Communication has different contexts, and these are most familiar communication contexts, which are interpersonal, group and organization, and mass mediated. So we have to sort of break down those. And the reason I'm mentioning these, a lot of these go into like the framework of what we'll talk about here in just a little bit. We recognize that sports communication is a process. That means it is a process of several factors, dynamics, and forces at any given time. For example, a public address announcer announces a concert to a crowded audience. Some may hear that, and because of all the noise, some may not hear that. So a lot of times we have to make sure that context is getting out. And how do we get it out to the ones that may not have heard it? And then there are elements. As we have researched, communication is a process. And the one thing that we talk about with the elements, the communication model is what comes into play here, is that we get to know the process. And then the most fundamental parts are illustrated, and this is through Laswell's model, 1948, which is listed in the references. So we talk about the sender, the message, the channel, where the message is received, and the receiver. And then lastly, we think about effects. A common question that has popped up in communication models have evolved through the years, and how communication impacts the parties and the encounters. So I mentioned each of those things just to bring us to a point where a forceful medium, the medium plays a vital role in athletic engagement to the viewers. And in this proposal, we review news media as the dominant source of information of athletes and their charitable work. We consider their philanthropic efforts. A few recent examples. You want to think about how the schools or pros actually give money back to the schools. We talk about the NFL. Currently, I believe they have a strategy going on where they actually auction off certain shoes. Tresemme 3 has been one of the pair of shoes that I have seen. So then they'll have people to bid on those. So then those go back to charitable organizations. So there's a lot of things that when we come into the context of communication, which is a lot to cover within 5 to 7 minutes, we can broaden out that horizon as to what they're actually trying to captivate, but also what they're actually supporting. 2 of the articles that I will talk about is from Abeza 2021, and again, that's listed in the references as well. And a lot of the things that he talks about and shows is that media is what we're going at now, as media has actually evolved. So when we talk about different platforms like Twitter, Facebook, social media, blogs, or Instagram, there has been a huge jump. For example, for Twitter in 2008 to 2014, there was a 41.7% increase. And just from 2014 to 2023, there was a 45.2% increase. So when you think about that, the overall percentage is 65% of all of our communication sport is coming through a particular type of media source, whether it be TikTok or Facebook or Twitter, and that continues to increase. And I encourage that you look at the article that I have posted in the references under Ibiza, because it will actually talk about those different scenarios, the increase. It talks about the gatekeeping theory. We learn about self-presentation theory. Some of the theories that I discussed in my paper for my proposal was about communication accommodation theory. So a lot of times, we have to communicate and accommodate based upon, you want to talk about football if you're talking about football. So you accommodate what that sport is. Same with basketball. You would accommodate what that is. But you also have to be able to accommodate to what our viewers or what the viewers would understand. So we have to think about those things. These are all motivational perimeters. Even in China, there's an article that I have listed as well. We find out that even amongst 409 people studied, there was still a significant increase within the communication sport because it is a dynamic, growing, very productive effort with the way things are now as far as social media and having so many things to view. So those numbers have grown. The connections between social networking sites and sports and why they are connected have been the subject of much research. And basically, in conclusion, and again, like I said, I feel like this is a lot to cover, but the proposal review offers an avenue to start computational research into sports and social media in the future and the significance of sport communication in general. It started by charting the development of sports and social media studies, points to the challenges that scholars have been articulating over the past 20 years. So when we think about it, our research can confirm that social media, and platforms have really resonated with a lot of individuals, and that will continue to grow. I can only imagine what it will be like in the future, and I do hope that this has helped you, because if you really look into the references that I've shared, you will see a very evolving door of just how important communication is in the sport realm. Thank you for listening, and have a great day.